Hello and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be soloing Mogu'shan Vaults, and you might be wondering, well, why are we going to do that? The reason's pretty simple. The Astral Cloud Serpent drops from Elegon, and it's a really damn cool mount. Now, I am doing this as a hunter, and obviously hunters are very strong when it comes to soloing. However, this is completely soloable by many classes. If you're maybe a mage or a rogue, then probably not. But I know warriors can do this, I know DKs can do this, so many classes can, and I mean, if you know your class well enough, then you'll know whether you'll be able to deal with this or not. Now, this first boss is the Stone Guards, and the good news about the Stone Guards is that really they're pretty easy. All you have to do is just not stand in the various forms of crap that are thrown at you. So you get the purple pools, and then you get the blue crystals. Just don't stand in them. Now, the bosses do have an overload ability when they're, like, the energy bar goes up full, they do a thing, but none of them are particularly much of a problem that you have to deal with. Now, the actual damage that you will take to the face might be an issue, though I'm guessing that if you're a more tanky melee class, then you'll probably, you'll have mechanics to deal with that, right? You'll be able to self-heal, you'll be able to mitigate. I remember once trying to just face tank these as a hunter, didn't go that well, but overall, it's a pretty easy fight. Now, the next guy is Feng, and I am speeding these boss fights up just a little bit for the sake of, brevity. Now, Feng is generally okay. He does Epicenter here. Now, Epicenter is just big AoE, hits everything in the room, but the further you are away, the less damage it does, so just hop back a little bit and you will be fine. It's really not much of an issue. Now, he also does Lightning Fist. It fired off there at the start of this video. I think he's just about to do it again. Don't stand in Lightning Fist. I think I stood in it once to test the damage, and again, it wasn't that much damage. I mean, even here with Epicenter, I'm standing right beside it. It's not that much damage, really. The first phase of Feng is just not a problem. Yeah, there you go. I stood in the Lightning Fist, did hardly any damage. Now, there is a mechanic in this fight to do with stealing his abilities and things like that, but you don't need to bother with that, honestly, with the amount of damage that comes out here. So, moving into the second phase, things are perhaps a little bit more fun. He does these like little sparks of fire that will hit a player and then they'll drop on the floor after a few seconds. So all you want to do is just, after they drop from you, don't stand in them. Now, he does kind of charge up his weapon and you do end up getting dots and stuff put on you at this stage. I face tanked him on purpose to see what the damage was like for the sake of, I'm doing a solo video, so it's probably best to know that. And yeah, the damage definitely did start to ramp up here, which is not particularly fun. Now, we're moving into Phase 3, and Phase 3 would have been a lot easier if I wasn't completely stupid when I did it. He's got an ability called something, Epicenter, I'll call it out when I see it, but essentially, you're supposed to move close to him for that, and I didn't, which really meant that I was taking a lot more damage than I needed to. Now, right now, he's just doing, like an AoE on me. It's completely unavoidable. Yeah, here's the thing, I should have been standing close to him for that. I just completely forgot to. But again, it wasn't, it was okay at the end. If you don't completely cock up like I did there, then this boss is happily soloable, but I'd say that he's probably the second hardest boss in here to solo, with the hardest one being gara'jal, simply because gara'jal is a gear check. And speaking of gara'jal, here is gara'jal. Now, with gara'jal, what you want to do is go completely balls to the wall. So, I had my Drums of Fury, I was pre-potting, and I had a flask. They came from the raid bank, they were free, don't tell my guild. That stuff's fine, but essentially this guy is a complete DPS race. You see, the way he normally works is that there's two phases. There's the kind of phase that you're in right now, and then there's the spirit world. And he spawns adds in the spirit world, and then the adds in the spirit world will hurt you in the regular world. In the regular raid, you'd send a few people into the spirit world to kill those adds, but obviously, there's only one of us here, so if we do that, the boss will despawn. This means that it's a DPS race. You cannot go in to eliminate those adds, and you can see little sort of shadow bolts are being thrown at me. That's the stuff those adds do, so you just need to DPS this guy. He's a complete gear check, so you just need to do as much damage as you can. It's really as simple as that. Now, I know this guy is soloable on Heroic, because I've seen it be done, but it is pretty tricky, and you will need very good raid gear in order to do that. So that's gara'jal done. Let's hop over to these guys, and these guys really, I was surprised at how easy they were, though the last one did do quite a bit of melee damage when I decided it was time to face tank him. So, with this first boss, as you might guess, just don't stand in the big cone that he does. But I mean, if you do, it's probably not the end of the world, because the amount of damage you take isn't really that insane. Now, they also do flanking orders, which causes these dudes to come in. I jumped into them on purpose to see how much damage it would do. As you can see, not a great deal of damage, but of course, I mean, if you don't have to take the damage, then it's probably best not to take it. Now, this guy is also rather fun. He doesn't really do any mechanics that are particularly scary, if I'm honest. I mean, there's those arrows, which are fine. They're not really a problem. He also does pillage. Now, apparently, if you stand in with pillage, he kind of like nabs all your clothes, which is bad for your stats, but you'll get them back in a minute, don't worry. And you just ideally don't want to stand in pillage. I think I stood in it a few times to see what it was like for damage. I've got to assume that if I was face tanking it here, it would have been quite a problem if I had been hit by pillage. So just don't get hit by pillage is the simple thing to take away here. And of course, getting hit by pillage is very easy to not do. I think at the time I wasn't really noticing what pillage was doing, so I was standing in it waiting to see all the nasty damage that I would take, but I just didn't take any, so I didn't really worry about it. Now, he's doing flanking orders again, not much of a problem. This Undying Shadow, I decided to keep it alive to see what would happen, and really nothing scary happened, so really just kill that whenever it spawns, you may as well. Don't stand in the black goo. Generally, black goo, pretty bad, so don't do that. He's just chilling out now, whacking me for a bit. I think this was at the stage where I decided I was just going to face tank the damage because I was kind of curious to see what it was like. Again, there's another shadow thing. I should hopefully kill that if I'm being good. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So now the black pool has been dropped. Again, just tank him out of that. And yeah, I think this guy, when his fists go ready, like, does more damage or something. But again, it's not a tremendous issue. If you do at any point find any particular phase, because class mechanics of course vary, if you find a particular phase of any fight to be particularly scary, then save your big cooldowns for them. At the stage, at the DPS that we're doing right now, hitting the enrage timer is never going to be a problem, and it's all about survivability. Next, let's move on to Elegon. Now, Elegon really isn't particularly hard, and of course he is the guy who drops the really badass mount. So I'm actually skipping ahead right now to the sort of second iteration. It's one of those rinse and repeat fights, just for the sake of brevity with the video. Now, when you stand on the Celestial platform, you will get a debuff, and a buff. Now, the debuff will stack up, meaning you take more and more damage. If you want to clear that, then just stand off the platform. Now, that's not particularly easy to do, because if there's no one in melee range, Elegon will pull you into melee range, which is quite a problem. So the best time if you need to reset your stacks is to do it during the phase transition. And that's really all you have to deal with there. Now, in terms of other things that he does a breath, which I think is supposed to deal quite a bit of damage, so you might want to throw up a defensive cooldown to get rid of that. Of course, I'm a hunter. Again, it's not really a problem. As for his ads, I think you're supposed to kill them in a certain way, from what I remember of doing Elegon back in MoP, but you can just kill them whenever they spawn, as far as what I've found. Wasn't really much of a problem. Now, when he goes into the phase transition, stuff is pretty simple. You just want to destroy the balls, and do that as much as you possibly can. It's really not much of an issue. Now, because I did skip ahead a little bit, there is because I actually kill him during this phase, what happens eventually if you miss one of the energy charges and it actually reaches its destination is the floor despawns, and I'll probably cut in some footage of that, but the floor despawns and a bunch of pylons appear. Once you destroy the pylons, he reverts into the very first phase, so all that you need to do is just rinse and repeat. It's a very, very manageable and simple fight. And really that's about it for Mogu'shan Vaults. Will of the Emperor, whatever the hell the final thing is a little bit annoying to deal with actually. I found that the two ads that spawn do a lot of damage, and frankly there's no reason to kill them anyway, because, well, there's no mount that drops from them, and obviously the reason why we're doing this is so we can get that really, really cool Celestial Cloud Serpent mount. Anyway, that's basically it for this video. I'm probably going to have a look into doing more Mists of Pandaria soloing, because it's actually just taken my interest recently, so hopefully there'll be more of that. But that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.